And now it's time to introduce today's guest speaker, who is well known to all of us. Jere Minich is a deputy CEO at the Computer Consultants of Leesburg. He is also our APC Region 5 advisor, which covers the states of Florida, Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, which is a worldwide organization that helps groups devoted to the world of technology, including computers, tablets, smartphones, digital photography, genealogy, by facilitating communications between member groups and industry vendors. Jere has also been a fire control tech, ballistic missile person with the U.S. Navy submarines, Polaris and Trident, and he works with computers and operation testing, maintenance, and repair. He's also worked for the Department of Navy as a computer system analyst. So let's give a warm virtual applause to today's guest speaker, Jere Minich. Okay, Jere, you may share your screen when ready, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I like to do Zoom meetings, but of course I like to come and see people face to face. Some of you know that I have been down to Deerfield Beach a couple times and I enjoy the trip, but since I'm in Michigan right now, that would be a long trip. So let's go virtual, and I'm going to share screen, and I'm going to pick up my PowerPoint. And now you should be seeing my PowerPoint presentation, screen number 1, iOS updates and free iPhone, iPad apps. If you see it, please go like this, which is yes. If you don't see it, go like this, which is no. Very good. All right, fantastic. I'm a basics person. I like to talk about basics. I do not enjoy doing a lot of stuff. I'm not a geek. Joyce thinks I'm a geek, but that's okay because we live together. And Joyce just came back in the door. Anyway, I have an iPad Air 2. I also have an iPhone 12 Pro Max. And to keep away from those copyright things that are going on the internet right now, I use almost exclusively screenshots from my iPhone, my iPad, or my PC. I teach basics, and I don't want to insult your intelligence. So in some cases, I'm going to be going through stuff that you already know, and that's fine. But there's other people that may not know. And when we have a crowd of 35, 36, 37 people, I'm going to stick to the basics. One of the reasons I didn't jump on Zoom earlier is because I was finishing up a 13-page summary of iOS updates. And after the meeting today, I will also send that to Barry so that he can distribute it to you. And the summary is basically not all of the iOS updates that happened with 14, but the ones that I consider noteworthy. There's over 200 updates that have come out to iPads and iPhones since iOS 14. So let's get started so we can get through this in a reasonable amount of time. Oh, by the way, I also have an Apple Watch Series 6. I just got it a couple days ago and I love it. All right, let's do a little overview here. There are a lot of things, like I said, that came out with iOS 14. And some of them are significant. Home screen improvements. And I'm going to cover a little bit about that. hide home pages, notifications, UI, major UI. Major UI means user interface, major user interface improvements, compact, Siri, and call notifications. And you can see in the center of the screen, I have a compact Siri, meaning that Siri no longer jumps up and takes more room on your device. You just get this little orb down in the bottom, and it sort of moves around as it's going on. And the compact call notifications over on the left-hand side of the screen, you know, your calls come in and they're at the top. They don't take up the whole screen. Again, this is an overview, and the 13-page handout that I just talked about a minute ago covers these things: system app improvements, core system enhancements, enhancements to the native apps. A native app is an app that Apple puts on the device. Okay. Page 3, lots of general improvements and features. I like the fact that we can now download apps to 2 different places. And I can also pick out my emoji a whole lot easier. I'm not big on YouTube 4K, but I do like the FaceTime eye contact thing that had come out. And sleep mode, wind down, notifications of badges. That little red circle that shows up on your screen with a number in it, that's called a badge. And notification badges show up normally on your home screen. Up-to-date weather, that's cool. Game Center ID. If you're into games on the internet, then the Game Center ID store account will be very helpful. Back button history, that's cool. If you want to find out or remember, you know, some of us suffer from CRS, can't remember stuff, okay? And so the back button thing is cool. I do a little third-party family sharing with my kids, my grandkids, and my great-grandkids. And, oh yeah, you know, I was surprised when I gave my great-granddaughter at 5 years old a Chromebook. She said, "Thank you, Grandpa." She opened it up, she pushed the button to start it up, and she went right into whatever she wanted to do. Now, that was a 5 years old, and I was not doing that when I was 5 years old, believe me.
Still not doing it.
Privacy features. All sorts of privacy features have come out in iOS 14, the biggest one being 14.5. And I like that. I value my privacy. But I also found out in dealing with my kids and my grandkids and my great-grandkids, they're not that much concerned about their privacy. And they go off and do all these things which may impinge upon their privacy. I like the little camera microphone indicators. And permission for people to track me or get access to my photos. And accessibility features are good for me. I have hearing aids. And I have a 32-inch screen in front of me. And I use other accessibility features, especially with the sound and what have you, so that I don't get shocked in my ears. So those are the kind of things that are there. And again, that 13-page handout, which I will send to Barry, and you will have available to you, covers all that. In summary, one-liners, okay? Now let's take a look over on the left-hand side, app library. And if you haven't discovered it on your iOS device, then it's there on the phone. And you just keep scrolling from home screens from right to left, and you'll come up to the app library. Now, I have 46 apps on my iPhone. And I like to use the app library to quickly find an app. You can also turn that app library into a list instead of the way you see it now as different folders. Also, what's very handy with the app library is right after you download an app, it shows up in the recently added folder you see up there at the top. And the recently added folder can be very handy. Widgets, another big thing with iOS 14. I have some widgets, as you can see. This is from my phone. And there's my grandson and my two granddaughters when we were up in Montana last winter. Widgets give you access to information that you want to see quickly. And there's a bunch of things you can do with widgets. You can stack them, you can rotate them, you can minimize them. It goes on and on and on. I don't do a lot with widgets. I put them on there on my iPhone and my iPad so they can see what's going on. And then over on the right-hand side, another thing that I really like is the pinned conversations in messages. And as you can see, Barry and I had a little exchange of iMessages or text messages. And so he's on my list there, but I have my son up there in the corner with his dog, and my granddaughter and my daughter. And so, yeah, you can pin conversations. What does this allow you to do? When you go to text messages, you can quickly get to the person that you pinned. And the pin becomes a little circle, and of course you can unpin them also. So I like that about the changes to 14. Another thing that I've taken advantage of, and you might look into it, is how to change your browser app. Now, let's be clear. We have a browser, which gets you on the internet. And then we have a search engine, which finds what you want on the internet. And the browser that comes native to Apple is Safari. But now they're saying you can use other browsers. And so on your PC, if you're using, as an example, Firefox, you can now have Firefox on your iPad or your iPhone. And these are the steps on how to make that happen. The key being here, the first thing you got to do is download that browser app from the Apple App Store. Then it becomes a piece of software on your device, and now you can select it as your browser. And this is what it looks like when you do it. Yes, just the other day, even though I don't use Chrome, I decided to run an example of how to change your browser. And so I did the old Chrome download. And then when I opened up settings, I found that Chrome was listed there as I scrolled way down. And then after that, I tapped on Chrome when I found it, and up came this screen on the left-hand side that said default browser app. Yes. And I tapped that line, and then over on the right-hand side, the final thing came up, and you see a check mark when you in fact select a certain browser. The check mark being, hey, that one's selected. As you can see from my example, I use DuckDuckGo as my browser on my iPhone. Why do I use DuckDuckGo? Because DuckDuckGo does not allow tracking. But if you wanted to use Chrome, you tap on that. If you want to use Safari, you tap on that. And I did not take Safari off my phone. I left it there, but I'm using DuckDuckGo as my browser. Hey, if they're going to let you change the default browser, which is Safari, then they're going to let you also change the default mail program or email program, as we most often call it that. So again, you have to go to the App Store. You have to find the email program that you want. They don't have all email programs on there, but they have ones that in fact developers have put on the App Store or put in the App Store, okay? And then you download it, then you open up the settings app and you scroll down to where you see the email app that was downloaded, and et cetera, et cetera. And now we can see again, I downloaded Outlook. I use Outlook on my PC. So, gee, maybe I should use it on my iPhone and my iPad. And over on the right-hand side, I found Outlook listed after I downloaded it. Then I tapped on Outlook and up came the same kind of thing for Mail app. And I tap on the Mail app line and there's Outlook. And I use the Mail program that is native to iPhones and iPads. But Outlook is available now. So I can switch that if I so desire. Privacy information. There's a lot of other organizations, and Facebook being one of them, that is very unhappy about what Apple did starting in June of 2020. And what they have done, to summarize this, is they have said to all of the people, developers, who want to have an app in the Apple Store, that they must provide privacy information. And it has to be understandable, not a bunch of gobbledygook. So, new apps coming in, they got to have that privacy information there that is approved by Apple. Okay, if the app is already in there and it doesn't have privacy information available, when they update the app, they have to supply the privacy information. Privacy information is things like, what are they going to do prior to you downloading? What kind of data are they going to collect? Who are they going to share that data with? Who are they going to allow to track you? It's all going to be there. And I've seen it. I've read it. I looked at it. I think it's very reasonable. And now to back that up, of course, iOS 14.5 and 0.5.1 came out with some things that said, okay, we're going to put a pop-up in the middle of your screen. And you got to take care of that pop-up in the middle of your screen before you can move on. And that pop-up will probably be about privacy. Do you want this app to allow not allow, etc. Over here on the left-hand side, I'm showing the little orange dot. They wanted to make it red. They said it was red, but it comes up orange. And that means that my microphone is on. And if you get a little green dot up there in the same place, then that means that my camera is on. And yeah, you know, you're using an app and you got to look up at the top of your screen to see if that app is doing something like turning on your microphone or your camera. And those little pop-ups I show in the center screen are the kind of pop-ups you're going to get. You know, Facebook would like to access your photos. And so when I'm in Windows 10, I say no to those things because I have no good reason why Facebook should be seeing my photos. But on my iDevices, I got to concern myself with what am I doing and do I want to make the right decision about they have their permission. Over on the right-hand side, the app privacy policy. This is just a text format, okay? And this is the way the developers of apps must format the information that is now available when you open up the app before you download it. When you open up the app in the App Store and before you download it, this privacy information can be seen by you. All right. I highly recommend if you have an iPhone or an iPad that you only use the App Store that comes with Apple. If you go outside of the Apple App Store, you may be giving yourself some long-term pains with malware, etc. Now, this is a shot of a screen. This is not my phone, but I took it off the internet. And this is the kind of app information you should see. All right. Privacy. Contact information, location, identifiers, data linked to. So this gives you a good idea about what's happening with that PAL About app that I'm getting ready to download into my device. That is the end of my presentation about iOS updates. I want to stop sharing now, and I want to, Barry and I talked about this the other day. I want to give a chance for anybody to ask questions. So if you'll unmute people, Barry.
Okay. Let's see if I could do that from the participant thing, right?
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm going to.
No, you can't, Barry. They have to unmute themselves.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, if you wish to ask a question, please unmute yourself and or raise your hand. There's a raise hand button on the bottom. Marcia?
Yeah, how do we get to see what the privacy setting is for each of those apps?
When you go to the App Store, Marcia, you find what you're looking for, and then you click on it, and now that's the only thing that occupies the screen. Normally, whether you're on your iPad or your iPhone, you'll have multiple things occupying the screen. So you click on it, and that's before you click on Get. You just click on it to make that the center thing. Now you scroll down and see the privacy stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Wow.
Steve, you raise your hand?
Don't mute.
Yes, Jerry, when you get a phone call and you get that little bar at the top of your screen, how can you transition that into a full screen of the phone call? You know, on the 12 Pro?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Okay.
Okay.
What happens is, and unfortunately, I don't know the answer.
Oh,
I have not done it, okay? My new iPhone 12 Pro Max, yeah, you get a phone call and the only thing that shows up is here at the top of the screen, and you get a red dot and a green dot, and the green dot is accept, the red dot is decline the phone call. And I've used it a couple times, and so, yeah, anybody know the answer?
Yes, just put your finger on the top left-hand side and drag it down. It'll give you a full screen.
okay, you've got to blurb
Yeah.
down to the screen. That
So
sounds
you're
good.
talking as if when I have the red and the green and I push the green and say hi, then I can still push the green and pull it down and I get a full screen.
Yes, sir. Or you can even do it before you push either of the buttons and it'll give you a full response screen.
Okay,
Very good.
that's a
Thank
good
you.
question. I never did it. You know what I like about this job? I remember, or I learn something new every day. You know what I don't like about this job?
You learn
I
something
remember
every
it.
day.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else have any questions on this portion of the presentation? Okay, if not, let's move on to this next part, Jerry.
Okay, hay fever in my eyes. That's why I'm doing that thing occasionally, because my eyes are burning up here. The season is changing in Michigan. I already went through this in Florida, and I get to repeat it up here in Michigan. All right. I'm getting down to
Let me add that we had planned to do some live demonstrations of it, but to make sure we didn't have any problems with the questionable spectrum wireless transmission up in that area of Michigan, we decided we would just do a PowerPoint presentation as opposed to live demos. Is that accurate, Jerry?
yes, it is. And when I get through this second section and we go back to looking at everybody, when a question comes up, I may pick up my phone and demonstrate it and see if it works and doesn't knock out on you. When it knocks you out of using your iPhone to send out to everybody, you have to start over. You have to turn your PC off and
Okay.
it's worse instead of better. All right, let's talk about apps that you can get on your iPhone or your iPad. And let's back up and make sure everybody understands app is short for application, and it accomplishes a certain task that you set it up for. And the apps are self-contained and user-friendly. Now, ever since about 1985, I've seen the term user-friendly, and I really don't know what that means, because what's friendly to me may not be friendly to you. But simple is what they're trying to say. Some apps are free and other apps cost one time or cost monthly or cost annually. So you want to be careful about that. And once you purchase it, it's yours forever. You can get rid of apps that you no longer want, but you can't do it from your iDevice. You have to go to iTunes on your PC to completely get rid of something. All right, so apps are used for creating, learning, playing, and getting more done. And Microsoft, Apple charges the developer of an app $99 a year to have that app in the App Store. And then they also charge 30% of whatever the developer makes off that app. All right, so Apple is making money on the App Store, and that's what it's all about. But we have some tabs across the bottom when we go to the App Store. Now, when you go to the App Store, it can be kind of confusing. So here is a bit.ly. If you use the address on the top there in blue, you can go to the App Store User's Guide, and it's very helpful. I've been there more than once, but I'm going to break some of those things down for you so that they are understandable, hopefully. All right. One of the things you can
Oops.
do in the App Store User's Guide is read about sharing purchases with others in your family. And I have done this. And my grandkids and my great grandkids say, but Grandpa, no, that's all right. I'll pay for it. You guys, you can use this also. And so that's what I do with family sharing when I have an app that I can do that with. Not all apps allow family sharing, quite a few of them do. When you first open up the App Store, this is what you get. You get an advertisement. Now, you're not going to see this page when you open up the App Store. It changes every time you open up the App Store. They're trying to advertise. Up in the upper left-hand corner, you'll see a blue bar. That's information about me, i.e. my email address. And I blinked it out because that's my private email address. Over on the right-hand side of the little square, you'll see a profile picture. I don't have a picture there. You can put a picture there of you or your favorite animal or whatever, okay? Advertisements, yes, this is what they want you to do. And as you can see across the bottom of the App Store, I'm in the Today selection. Normally when you open up the App Store, that's where it comes up. They're trying to get you to buy certain apps, all right? So the tabs across the bottom are driven by the App Store. You select an app and then you get customer ratings and reviews and privacy practices, which we talked about a few minutes ago. The tabs across the bottom are as such. All right. Today tab is updated frequently. And this is where you also can find helpful hints and tricks and tips. I don't play games on my devices. I take that back. I play one game, and that's it, solitaire. But if you're into games, and Joyce certainly is, that's where she goes when she opens up the App Store. She goes to that tab. All right. Apps tab is just what it says. Recommendations. Arcade, games again, and if you're looking for a certain app, like you want to change your browser, then you, of course, select the search tab, and then you type in the name of your browser. And be careful when that opens up that you get exactly what you're looking for. Don't jump on the first thing that comes up. When you go into the App Store, you get some symbols. And these are not widely promulgated as to what they mean. So that's why I have this here. All right. Of course, the symbol with the right next to App Store icon is the icon that's on your device to open up the App Store. When you open up the App Store and you go to a certain app, if you see the word get, that means you download it for free. Right underneath it, you see in very small letters, and that's why I have small letters here, in-app purchases. And that means that while you're using that app, every once in a while, they're going to pop up and say, you got the standard edition of this app. You need the premier edition, which will allow you to do the following, or some words to that effect. They want you to buy. So you start out free and they want you to buy. If you go to the App Store and you'll bring up a certain app using the search, and you see a little cloud with a down arrow, that means this was once on your device and you can download it again for free at any time. If when you're in the App Store and you open up a certain app and it has the word open instead of get, that means this app is on your device and you can tap it right here to open it. You don't have to go back to your home screen and search for it. That's happened to me more than once. Gee, I want to use this app. Let me go to the App Store and get it. Oh, it's already on my device. In the newer phones, X or later, right, up there at the top, you get these different colored bubbles. A blue bubble, you're in screen mirroring, which I'll show you how to do after, at the end of this presentation. Or you're providing a hotspot to another device. The green bubble means you're using a phone call, and the red bubble is when you're recording. Next, these are the apps that I use. Now, when you say, hey, Jerry, tell us about free apps, I'm going to tell you about free apps that I use because I have no idea out of 36, 37 people what your desires are. I'm going to help you understand why I use certain free apps, and I'm going to give you some few words so that you can go out and find the apps that you want from the categories that exist. So let's go through the apps that I use. Chase, okay? I have a credit card that every time I use it, I get a text message. What am I saying? I go to a gas station, I whip out my Chase credit card, I stick it in the gas pump thing there, I pinch the numbers in, whatever they want, etc. Okay, then I pick up the hose, stick it in the car, and start running gas. When I get finished, I close everything up, and I get back in the car, and I got a text message. And the text message says, your credit card was just used at this gas station. Cool. I don't have a credit card that will not give me alerts. All my credit cards give me alerts. Choice. This is an app that I use to control my hearing aids. Cool. Facebook, yeah. Thing. Every once in a while, I want to know, am I getting the internet speed I'm paying for? When I travel from Florida to Michigan, I use Google Maps. It guides me on the right path. Oh, by the way, this time when Joyce and I came up, we took 3 days and we did all back roads. I never got on 75 at all. Kindle. Yes, I have a Kindle and I read books from Amazon. LastPass is my password manager and I've had it since 2007 and I like it. What does a password manager do? It stores my passwords and user IDs for all the websites that I visit. Joyce and I have one password manager account. So all of our websites are on there with user ID and password. Also, I store information in my password manager about the model number and the serial number of my devices and other secure notes. Because if somebody swipes my phone, when I call the police, what am I going to tell them? Well, my phone was about this big and about this thick and about this long. And no, hey, my phone was swiped and here's my phone serial number and my phone model number. Think about that. Do that yourself. Save that information somewhere. I use Microsoft Word a lot. Of course, I use Zoom. What are we doing now? We're Zooming. Clear Captions. Clear Captions is a free telephone. Ever since about 20 years ago, you've been paying a certain tax on your telephone bill. And that now goes to Clear Captions and has been going to Clear Captions. And if you get on the internet and get a hold of Clear Captions, they'll have somebody come out to your house with this telephone that they will hook up to your system and to your internet, and it has a screen on it. When somebody calls you, whatever they say shows up on the screen. Cool. It's free. You already paid for it. When you're finished with it, you give it back to them. I have Google Earth. I have Honda Link because I drive a Honda CR-V. IMDb. IMDb is very handy for Joyce and I because we're in our 80s or close to it. I can't tell you how old Joyce is. She won't tell me. And, oh, by the way, when we're watching a movie, and we forget the name of the actor on there, we can look it up on the Internet Media Database. Very handy. Joule. I use that to cook, sous vide cooking. My GPS coordinates. OneDrive. OneDrive is the cloud storage system service by Microsoft. I put a lot of stuff in OneDrive or iCloud. Grammarly, yeah, when I do messages and presentations and all that stuff, I run Grammarly to make sure that I get it spelled right, etc. Scanner barcode, obviously, right? Solitaire, it's the only game I play. SunTrust, okay. I have 3 credit unions and 1 bank, and all of them, I have their apps on my mobile devices. If you don't do banking on the internet, then you need to go to your institution that you put your money in and say, I'm thinking about doing banking on the internet. How about convincing me that that's the thing I should do? And they will do it. Somebody sends me a check, I take a picture of it and send it in. I don't have to go down to the bank anymore and deposit it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, check it out. It's cool. I've been banking on the internet since 1995. T-Mobile, that's my carrier, my cell phone carrier. The calculator, yeah. AirTag, that's a new thing coming out recently by Apple. And they're little devices that you can hook up to items like your keys or your wallet or whatever, and it will point to you which direction to go in your house to find the item you laid down and you forgot where you put it. I just got some and I think they're great. Truecaller and Umail, I use them both on my iPhone to block and get rid of those scam phone calls. IHG, my hotel reservations, Holiday Inn Express. Watch, another free app, and it's for my Apple 6 watch. Oh, by the way, you cannot update a watch unless it's on charge. And if you're updating your iPad or your iPhone, please plug it in and make sure it's on charge. If you try to do an update, an iOS update, on a device that belongs to Apple, and you run out of battery, you have a problem. You're going to be visiting the Apple store to have them fix it. Speed test, yep. My WM, up here in Michigan, out here in the middle of nowhere where we are, I get weekly trash once every Tuesday. And of course, they supply me with a big waste can. And they have a summer rate, and it's very reasonable. Cardiogram, notes. I use notes for shopping. Remember the days when we used to sit down at home and think about what you needed to get at the grocery store or whatever, so you made a list, and then you got in the car and you went to the grocery store, and then you go, oh darn, I left the list at home. Yeah, I put all of my shopping lists on notes, and then when I get there, my phone is still in my pocket, I whip it out, and I can go through my shopping list. Quick scan and decode all QR codes. Okay, I use that. Calendar. If I didn't have calendar on my iPad, I would forget what I'm supposed to do or who I'm supposed to send a birthday gift to. Files, iCloud Drive, that's again the same thing as OneDrive, but it belongs to Apple. And a cloud is nothing but a building with servers in it. They store information, all right? And that's what the cloud service is all about. Garmin Express. I have a 3-wheel recumbent trike, and I use Garmin to track my location and etc. And it does it by GPS. I use Microsoft Word, I use Safari, I use Amazon, I use books. All right.
Excuse me, Jerry. Alice just left the door open there behind you.
Oh,
So your brightness is decreased.
my what?
The brightness was
Yeah.
decreased. Okay, okay.
You
We're
have to shut that door, please.
I will. I'm trying to get stuff out there to work on.
okay.
Wi-Fi finder, yep. I use that. My account, Xfinity. Down in Florida anyway. Epson print, and there's also one for Canon print. Apple support. Very handy, especially when I can't remember how to do something. Convert Lite, which is very handy, helping me convert units from this to that, kilograms to grams, whatever, PowerPoint. Yep. I don't do PowerPoint on my phone, but I do PowerPoint on my iPad. And then, of course, DuckDuckGo. My search engine. I use DuckDuckGo on my PC. I use DuckDuckGo on my iPad and my iPhone. And it does not track. Right now, if you open up your iPhone and your iPad and you go to Settings, Safari, and then tap on the search engine line, you'll see 4 choices from Apple. And one of them is DuckDuckGo. And that's what it looks like right there. I'm in search engine for Safari, and wherever you touch the line, well, actually you see 5 choices, sorry. Bing belongs to Microsoft. Ecosia is a new search engine that's now about 5 years old now, but every time you use it, you plant a tree somewhere in Google and Yahoo. So those are the free apps that I use frequently on my iPad or iPhone. I do not use my banking stuff when I'm traveling, but when I'm either in Michigan or Florida at home, I will use those apps. If you go to the internet and you say best iPhone apps for 2021, best iPad apps for 2021, whatever, you will come up with a long list of who and what thinks are the best apps. You can put the word free in there, You can put the word paid in there. There's a dozen different ways to find out what's best in somebody else's opinion, okay? And those bit.lys will take you to those sites on the internet. Best iPhone apps for 2021. You get a list like this, and they're in these different categories. So there's a lot of different categories there, and a lot of different things you can get into. That's all I got for free apps on iPhones and iPads. I have a couple slides here I want to talk about extra helpful information. Jerry's Tech Tips is also on Huey.net and also at the APCUG website. I monitor about 15 different newsletters on the internet. I subscribe to them. I get probably 45 emails a day. I go through these different emails and I check for tricks, tips, hints, things that might interest you. And then I turn them into information with a bit.ly so you can go to the site, find out about the same thing.
Jerry, will we get a copy of these slides so that I can send them off to the participants?
Yes.
Okay.
Bluetooth and other devices are becoming very popular. All kinds of Bluetooth devices can be added onto your daily life. If you're using Windows 10, how do you add these Bluetooth devices onto your Windows 10? That's what this hint is all about. Okay, you have to go to settings, devices, and then Bluetooth and other devices. And as you can see, when I did this on my PC, again, right in the center of the page, I blanked out my email there. I have a mouse, a keyboard, and a Logitech webcam that are Bluetooth to my PC already. Well, I want to add something. You go up here and you click on the add Bluetooth or other device. And then you go through the steps. And when you click on it, it's going to search for it. And then if it finds it, it's going to let you add it. Keep your printer on. I have a Canon MX922 printer right here in Michigan. I bought it in 2017 and I paid $89 for it. I looked at it the other day and I wanted over $400 for it. And those are both from Amazon. That's what's happening to printers nowadays. You know, the manufacturers are swinging towards, let's go ahead and charge $400 or $500 for a printer, and then we'll only charge umpteen dollars for the ink. But in the past, it's been different. What happens when you turn your printer off? When you turn your printer off, you have a print head. All right. The ink from the print head is dumped in your ink printer down to a pad in the bottom of your printer. So you lose ink every time you turn the printer off. Even Consumer Report says leave it on. Apps that share your data. Since we were talking about apps, I found this list. And I'm not too sure how they came up with the numbers, but these are apps that share the most of your information. And I was surprised by a couple of them.
And Facebook owns Instagram.
Yeah. So be aware. These are apps that collect data for their benefit, but don't necessarily share it. So sometimes you see the same app name on both lists and you begin to wonder, I've never used Uber Uber Eats, but I did use Uber one time when I was visiting my daughter in Biloxi, Mississippi. All right, let's move on. If you have an iPhone and you have not done 14.5.1, it's been issued, please do it. All right, and it includes this app tracking transparency. Again, if you're doing an iOS update on your iPad or iPhone, have it plugged into the power source. If you're doing an app update, just make sure you got more than 50% power. iOS updates can take up to 20 minutes. Your device can restart 3 or 4 times if necessary. If you run out of battery, you turn that device into a brick until you get it fixed. Restart versus shutdown. I tell people when I'm teaching iPhones and iPads, if you have a problem with any app on your iPhone or iPad, the first thing you should do is shut it off. No, not put it to sleep, turn it off, shut it off. Why? Because when you turn it back on, it's going to reload all the programs. The same thing with Windows 10, folks. Let's say you get a pop-up in the middle of your screen in Windows 10 and you go, oh my gosh, that's a scam. That's terrible. I'm just going to shut down. And you do shutdown in Windows 10, it's going to save that. So when you turn it back on, it's still going to be there. But if you do a restart, it won't be there. If it is there, then it's on your hard drive. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3. Do a restart. I do a restart frequently on all my devices, including my PC. When I am finished and I'm not using my PC, I put it to sleep. So you see sleep up there in the little diagram, but you may see hibernate there. The difference between sleep and hibernate is hibernate saves the information that you were doing just before you went to hibernate on your hard drive. Sleep saves it in your RAM, and RAM does not shut down. So you have a minimal amount of power going to the random access memory. All right. So I use sleep, and then about every 3 days, I do a restart on my PC just to clean it up, clean it out. How do I put these presentations together? Well, this is how. I use Screen Snip. If I click on the little button all the way over on the right-hand side, bottom of my screen, and I will get the second big red square you see there, red outline square. Now, you may not have as many items in your little square that I have, but you're going to get at least over there in the corner, you're going to get Screen Snip. You click on Screen Snip with your mouse, and you can save what's on your screen. As soon as you click on Screen Snip, all right, the screen will dim and a mini menu will appear at the top. The mini menu is on the right-hand side at the top. And then you can select what kind of snip you want. Rectangular, freeform, windows, or full screen. And then once you take that snip and you click on your mouse to take it, that goes to your clipboard. Now, once that snip that you just took is in your clipboard, you can put it in email, a PowerPoint, a word processor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right. The clipboard is invisible to you at this point in time, but you can paste it almost anywhere. And I do paste things like that in emails. I paste things like that on a lot of different documents that I'm working on. That's how I put these presentations together. This is a snip of one of the submarines I served on for 5 years. Things in there. So this is just the beginning or the end.
Okay,
one or the other. If you have any questions, please email me at jminich@apcg.org, or be aware of the fact that if you email me, I may not have an answer. I may have to say, I don't know.
let's give Jerry a big hand today for an excellent presentation.
Jerry, you had a question in the chat about how did you get to the App Store user guide?
Yeah, there was on that slide, there's a bit.ly there. A bit.ly being a short address for a long
Right.
address, right? And so you can go to that bit.ly and it'll take you to the App Store guide.
Okay, if you have it handy, it'd be great if you could type it into the chat. If not, we'll go through the slides and pull it and put it in the notes.
Okay, hang on. Other
While
questions? I'm going through other questions.
Yeah, Bernard has a question. Unmute yourself, Bernard.
Yeah, that helps. That helps. I have a question. I have an iPhone. I've been using it for about 5 years. I've never really had an issue like I'm talking about right now. My power, for some reason, the phone is about a year old. And for some reason, even though I close all my apps, I shut down this, shut down that, I don't do the restart. I don't shut it down per se. I just do the restart. My battery seems to be getting very, very low. I mean, usage.
How,
Within 12 hours, I have to, even earlier, I have to recharge my phone.
how old is your phone?
Less than a year.
Uh-huh.
And my updates, I don't know if I'm on 14, but I do all the updates that are required. What I'm asking right now, I don't know. I mean, Jerry, you got 46 apps. I don't have anything close to that. But I was wondering, certain apps may be drawing more power.
Okay,
You can check that.
yeah, there's, by the way, I put the,
Yep,
I put the bit.ly in chat
thank you.
for
Yeah.
getting over to the App Store guide. Bernard,
Yes.
there is a whole list of things that you can go through to save battery. Now, let me give you an example, and I can send you some references on that if you want. Or
Sure.
I send them to Barry. It depends. If you email me and say, hey, Jerry. Now, folks, remember, when you email me and say, hey, Jerry, I'd like you to send me this, that, or the other, you got to say, Deerfield Beach. I was at your Deerfield Beach presentation because I gave a presentation yesterday and I'm already getting questions. So to cut down the number of back and forth, tell me, oh, I was at Deerfield Beach and here's my question. One of them is, Bernard, when you use an app and it's still in suspension, i.e. in the background, okay?
Gotcha.
And the app developer wants to update it, he can do that, using up your battery.
Interesting.
It could also be, Bernie, that you have background programs running there. You have to make sure that background refresh is turned off. That's a big battery drainer. And if you
Oh.
want to go down to your settings, go down to settings and battery, it will show you your battery health and it will indicate which programs are taking most of your battery charge. So
Wow.
you can then determine which ones are overtaking the battery's ability to charge itself.
I vaguely remember something like that years ago when I was surfing. Thank you very much.
You're
Yes, sir.
welcome.
Jerry, can I add one thing?
Sure.
Thank you for your services.
Oh,
And I'm not just talking about the Deer Beach Computer Club. I'm talking about that picture of that submarine.
yes, sir. Thank you.
That brings me chills to my body.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I really enjoyed being in the Navy on submarines. And what happened is they found out I had a kidney stone. I had my 20 years in, and they said, "You're going to an aircraft carrier." And I said, no. I got my 20 years in, I think I'll get out. Otherwise, I'd have stayed.
I guess you like the water.
Yeah, and I've had 9 kidney stones since then, but
You got to start. You got to stay out of those graveyards.
there you go.
Okay, any more questions on the chat here that we need to address?
Steve has
Let's-
his hand up.
Yes,
Okay.
when it comes to apps and it says inline purchases, it never tells you the price, I think, until you actually add the app. Why would you want to buy something before you know the price? There's no way to tell how much it's going to cost you when it says in-store purchases. When you see an app. and it has
I
in-store
see.
purchases.
In-app purchases. That's right.
Right.
Yeah. But again, normally when you get those in-app purchases ads, Steve, what they're saying to you is, increase the functionality. And if you're happy with the way it is, right? So then you can negotiate with them. And when you tap, yes, I'm going to do this, then Apple is very good about putting up the price and et cetera. Now you can also go onto your device and you can go and find out what your purchases are and how to get rid of them if you don't like it anymore, that kind of stuff. That's
Steve,
all available.
In-app purchases doesn't mean it's money that you're going to spend. It says that this ad is free because it has ads within that particular app. That's
Yeah.
what's keeping it free. And if you want to get rid of those ads, then you have to pay for the product. But
Right.
as long as you're using the free version, it's only making you aware of the fact that there are going to be ads within that app.
Now, when you click on the app itself, where you look it up on the in the App Store, and it says in-app purchases, you can also see reviews there on that app on the bottom. And normally people will scream if it's costing a lot of money or it's or what they say about it. Those reviews are pretty legitimate. So that's what I look at. If they say, well, you're not giving me this or that for this kind of money, or this is too expensive, whatever. Sometimes the reviewers will give you another idea, but Bob is correct.
So all
Thank you,
apps
Bob.
are generally free unless you buy the updated version?
Not a matter of updated version. It's just, it's free unless you want some extras,
Really?
like turning off ads.
Yeah, I had a bad experience with an in-app purchase that turned to be like a $69 purchase, and I don't know how that happened, but
Yep.
I don't think I updated anything or wanted anything extra, and it still was a $69 purchase, which I had to rescind.
Right.
Judy has her hand up and you have one more question in chat. Judy, you want to unmute yourself?
Judy?
Yes.
Brown?
You said you use LastPass. Do you use that on the iPhone or the iPad?
All three. I have it on my PC, I have it on my iPad, and I have it on my iPhone.
So do you use that as opposed to using the password that comes with the phone and IMAX?
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that better?
It's more secure.
It's more secure than the Safari one?
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody turn off your. Okay,
Judy,
LastPass.
let me amplify a little bit. Judy, that's my personal opinion, and some other people agree with me, okay? I do not want to use a password manager that's associated with a browser or associated with a program, because it might be hackable, okay? LastPass has a data bank in the cloud of all my passwords and their user IDs. So when I go to a website, it automatically enters that information for me and I don't have to remember it. LastPass people can't see my passwords because they don't have my master password. That's the key that opens up my vault for all the other passwords, okay? I think that's fairly secure. Now, let's be honest, LastPass has been hacked numerous times over the last 10 years. And when they get hacked, the hacker gets my name and my email address. He doesn't get my passwords, etc. If you have a password manager in your browser and your browser gets hacked, how is that password manager protected? That's my question. I think Apple does a better job than other people, but personal opinion, I'm going to stick where I'm at. Bob?
Thank you.
Well, also LastPass and the rest of them, they're cross-platform. If you have it in only your browser may not be used in other platforms.
You understand what Judy, you understand what we mean by other platforms?
No,
Okay, if you have a password manager in your browser on your PC, you can't use it on your iPhone because that's a different platform.
yeah,
Okay,
but if you have an iMac and an iPhone, then they sync.
If that's all you have, correct.
Right, I don't have any other.
But if
I don't
you
have
were,
any other-
okay, if you were to be at somebody else's house and you'd have to use their equipment, and you can make it safe by signing in with your own stuff, you now won't have any access to it because that won't be your iPhone or your iMac.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, LastPass requires one master password. Is that correct?
Correct.
And if you lose that, you're finished.
Correct. One other thing, LastPass, as of March 16th, you can only use it on either your computers or on your smart devices, but you can't use it for free on both. If you want to use it on both platforms, then you have to pay for it.
Yeah, I just, well. Yeah, rest.
Okay, any other questions before we shut down? We're moving close to the end of the meeting. So
Yeah, real quickly, what was that, the spam app for the iPhone?
Truecaller,
Okay, thank you.
and Umail. I like Umail. Okay.
Email for the
reason is-
spam? Spam on your iPhone.
Yeah, Umail.
Okay, thank you.
One minute word, Youmail, Umail. I like it because it easily allows me to block phone calls.
Okay,
And if somebody calls me and I'm not there and I don't answer and they leave a message, then Umail will play the message for me.
okay.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm tired of cemetery plots now. I just got my 22nd call.
Yeah.
okay, quickly.
I have
any
a
o-
question,
Yes,
Carol. Yes, I'd like to know, I don't know if you asked it first. How do I know my phone's ID and et cetera? So if I lose it, I'll have it to give to whoever.
Okay, you have to go to settings, then you go to general. And then once you get to general, you'll have categories. The top one is about. And you tap on about and it gives you all the information about your device.
Okay,
Settings, general, about.
you
Thank
can
you.
you can also enable Find My iPhone. That has to be enabled. And then where you can also detect it with your watch. There is a setting on your watch. You scroll up the screen on the watch and you press it and it will beep wherever your iPhone is. And if you lose it in the house or anywhere else, or if it's still enabled, the police can track it. through iCloud.
Carol, were you talking about finding your iPad or giving it to someone?
No, if I lose my phone,
A phone, rather, sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah.
needed, and they said, "Oh, what's your phone ID?" I wouldn't know. So this
Right.
way I have to put it somewhere, safe.
Mhm.
I
You know,
believe,
using passwords and what have you is a pain. But I have a password for my phone, or passcode, excuse me, for my phone and my iPad. Now, if somebody steals your phone, what you got to think about is they don't really want your phone. Because if you have a passcode for it, they're not going to spend the time trying to figure out what the passcode is. They steal your phone, and what do? They take the SIM card out of your phone, and they take that SIM card and stick it in their phone. Now, who pays on the SIM card? You do.
mhm.
Oh,
So now I stole your phone, I pulled the SIM card out, which is a little hole in the side of your phone. If you look carefully without your case on
where?
your phone, you can see it, right? And there's a little SIM card in there. Be careful if you pop it out, because it can fall on the floor and then you can't find it. So now I got your SIM card in my phone, and I'm calling my friends over in Italy.
Using your plan, your data plan and everything.
Your SIM card. And
Okay.
so then your carrier
Ah.
says, so if you lose your phone, the first thing you need to do is call your carrier. Then you need to call Apple. Then you need to call the police. And you need to give them, this is my phone's model number, and this is my phone's serial number.
Okay, so I have to keep that in a safe place.
Okay, here's another quick tip. I happen to have an old iPhone 6 Plus, and I have my new iPhone 11. And what I do is when I did this, I took the SIM card out of the old phone and put out of the old one, of the new one, and put it into the old one. And now you have a phone that's good for wireless. Your old phone is good with wireless, and then you have the regular phone with the SIM card in it.
Yep.
So you can go on any network you want. That's the thing with the SIM card. If somebody gets a hold of it, they're on your network and they start using your phone. Or if you want to use it, when you switch that SIM card, you can get on T-Mobile or whatever network that SIM card has on it. So you got to really guard that.
I have an iPhone 7. Where's the SIM card?
If you take the case off of your phone, so
Yeah.
all you have is a bare phone, on the side of the phone where you have the one button, there is a small, tiny hole. And if you take a device like a really thin paper clip and stick it in that hole, a little drawer is going to pop out. And the little drawer has a SIM card on it.
And if you aren't careful, like Jerry said, it will fall on the floor and you may have a problem finding it. So
Yeah.
be very careful when you do that.
And in the original box that you get your iPhone in, they may include a SIM card puller or remover.
Yeah.
They have put it in some of those boxes. It makes it easier. It's a little tool, and it goes in those two holes, and then it ejects it. And we got to be very careful, because if it goes somewhere else or gets damaged, you can't use that phone anymore, at least for the purposes of which you're intending it. All right, everybody.
Donald,
Jerry,
wait a second.
one more.
Donald, did you find a little SIM card hole?
Yeah, well, I found the hole to put the paper clip thing in. That's just,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's a smaller hole. It doesn't take a standard paper clip. It takes a smaller paper clip.
Yeah, I got the hole right there, but
Or
I
a needle.
can't see the rest.
Just know that it's there, folks.
It's there.
You don't need to play with it, you know?
No. Not me.
If you want to change carriers, you take your phone down to your new carrier, he pops the SIM card out, puts his SIM card in, and now you're a new carrier.
Yep.
It's that simple.
Yep.
All right. Barry, you wanting to close down?
Yeah, give me 1 second here. I'm going to get some screenshots.
Oh, okay.
And let me
Smile,
just-
everybody. Smile.
It's going to be a little noise here. I hope not. Let's see.
Anyway, I've had fun. It's great working with you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm anxious to get back to normal life and come down and see y'all again.
Okay, Jerry, thank you for an excellent job. I'm sorry we couldn't do live demos on there because the way Jerry's provider Spectrum is, and there's a lot of problems with it across the country, but in his area would not allow us to, do things completely as we like. So I want to wish everybody well, stay safe and healthy. Jerry, you're still showing, you're starting your screen sharing. Unshare, please.
Yeah, no, just a second.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, see, there it is. There's my sharing of my screen. But what Barry was trying to say is, if I lose the signal, then I have to start over. I have to shut down everything and come back up, okay, to get it to work again. But now I can show you my screen, and I can show you different things, and then I can show you my app library and, my different screens and the little dots
Now-
across the bottom. These little dots right here across the bottom, that's the number of home screens I have. And yes, I got 24 emails that I haven't looked at yet, and I got 2 phone calls that I haven't answered yet. And you can also see my different widgets. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jerry. Unshare at this point.
I'm gonna stop sharing.
Okay. Also, remind you that Apple has an app support on it, has a support app. They also have a YouTube page and everything else where you can find tips and tricks to all of the things Jerry has discussed and a lot more. Thank you for participating in today's meeting. I wish you a happy and healthy and safe 2 weeks. We'll see you again on Friday, June the 4th, 2021 at 10 o'clock a.m. Sign in will be between 9:30 and 10. I will do my diligence by making sure that this app is, or this meeting is posted on our YouTube channel no later than tomorrow, assuming all goes well. We will also post the handouts under our handouts page, including the slides. Go to member resources. You'll find handouts under that on a computer or a mobile device, and there you'll see it posted as a handout. So thanks again to all of you for making a record participation. We had 37 today.
Wow.
I believe that's a record, and if we can hold this every week, we're going to be doing great as we move into closer to live classes. So thank you everyone very much, and this is your turn to wave goodbye.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much.
One last item, okay?
Yes,
Do
go
not
ahead.
be afraid to email me with a question. I like to help people. Y'all have a wonderful week.
His
Thank
email,
Right back at you, Jerry. Right back at you.
his email is jminich@apcug.org. If you want to see all of these tips and tricks that he does, go down to the bottom of the homepage, click on the APCUG logo, and it brings up by default Jerry's tips and tricks.
I didn't think he did tricks.
He's done some pretty good stuff today. Okay.
Excellent. Yes, indeed.
Bye,
Yes,
everybody.
indeed.
Stay well.
Bye-bye. Thank you for everything.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.